So, welcome to the She Hustles segment where I take the time to highlight ladies that have accomplished some outstanding things that everyone should hear as a source of motivation and inspiration to everyone. And today we celebrate none other than Shandel, the author, Forex trader, educator, and just the list goes on. Amazon bestseller. And I have a special surprise for everyone today. We have Shandel with us. Hi, Shandel. Shandel.
Hi.
I did it already, see?
It's okay. It's okay. Everyone does.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the Downtown podcast this week. Don't waste no time with negativity. How are you doing?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you reaching out, and the segment is perfect. She hustles. I'm all in for that. So thank you so much, Kay.
Well, thank you. And women like you inspire me every day, whether I'm low or high, to just be better. I purposely, over time, especially with like running the blog and really just understanding what like certain social media platforms are for, just like curating my feed and my algorithm. So I get really happy when I stumble upon people like you, that are just like boss woman, like period.
Yes.
Yes. So today, as we said, She Hustles segment is all about, women that have just gone above and beyond the norm and just gone for it, period. What I would love to start with today is the fact of you being a part of or a co-author of this Amazon bestseller book, Courage to Change.
Yes.
Could you speak a little bit or much on it?
Yeah, of course. How I came about Courage to Change, honestly, it was a year in progress, and how I actually got connected to be a part of the project would have been about a year previous to that. So it is just networking 2 years in a row. Of just meeting people and meeting the right people. I had met somebody that was an author in Indigo and chapters, and they were doing well for themselves. They're a coach and a mentor, and they gave me the opportunity a year later to be a part of a co-author project. So it was just an impression that I had made on somebody a year prior, that they thought of me and they thought of my story and my hustle and reached out to me and knew that it would be an opportunity I would want to be a part of, and handed it right to me. I took it on, obviously saying yes real quick, because everybody says they want to have a TV show about themselves or a book, right? They want to write a book one day. So it's not an opportunity that you really want to say no to. And even though I had a lot going on, it wasn't the right time to commit to it. So I felt at the time, I still did. And I have no regrets, obviously, because I can never imagine that it would have went best-selling or any of that. I was just writing a chapter in a book with 11 other authors, and just with the right people behind it and the right editors and everything, and just really great intentions. And I guess a lot of really great stories in that book with the 12 authors that it went best-selling on Amazon. So I'm grateful for that opportunity and experience.
That is just amazing. Like 11 authors on one project. To be honest, as much as I like read, I never really heard about that type of like a book as apart from like a textbook or something. So it was a very interesting concept to me. And I just love to dig a little bit deeper, courage to change. When I hear things like that, for me, I think so many things, like the courage to change, but most importantly, I would say, to me, I would think like the courage to change, that all starts from like within, in your mental space, and whatever season or time you are at your life there and then like you should allow yourself and let the energies and everything just guide you to follow that, which is the courage to change. And you spoke on a lot of deep experiences within this book. Could you please like what, just even like regurgitating those emotions, what was that
Yeah.
like for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, just for anybody that's looking to author a book, I can say, especially if it's one really personal, writing is definitely going to be a difficult experience. Just the emotions that happen as you're writing are unforgettable because it's almost healing, right? So as you're writing, you're getting out real personal stories. Mine being a young girl that has battled the legal system, always found myself around the wrong crowd. That's what I took a liking to, and just always put myself in really bad positions until I finally was uh, free of all of my charges at one point at about 23 years old. So between 21 to 23, 24, I was living with a lot of restrictions when I was running with more of a street crowd and not focused on business and not focused on personal development, not putting myself around the right people to put me in a position to win. And as soon as, I got my story out, I was free to go. The judge believed me, and all sorts of things that, do unfold in my chapter actually. That actually allowed me to obviously live very freely after that and very confidently knowing that what I had in front of me, which was my freedom and my health. So I took that literally, literally in my hands and ran with it and never looked back in that sense. So when it comes to business and my freedom and my health, I don't take it for granted and hit the pavement running. And the emotions that I can remember as I felt that, it's really empowering now to look back.
Mm-hmm.
That it's written in words, it's set in stone. I tell my story how it is, and unapologetically to be able to help other women out, other people out
Yeah.
that are going to read it and just be able to hit the pavement like I did and not feel sorry for themselves and just be able to rise and be a victor.
Yes, be a victor. And it's such a like, just to see you now, we're seeing you in your butterfly, I guess, stages, and no
Yes.
one knew you or supported you. I'm sure there were lots of times that you felt in your caterpillar stages that like, if you're even gonna make it out,
Yeah, definitely.
I've definitely shared those experiences of just like with the law and like surrounding situations, and myself included. So I definitely like more than understand how like some situations can definitely, after you make it out when you didn't think that was the case, you definitely look at things a lot differently, and as you should. And one thing that I
hmm
do recall in certain situations is like there's always that moment
hmm
where you kind of make this promise to the
hmm
universe to say like,
hmm
yo, if I get out of this,
hmm
like this fill in where you may. And I'm
Oh,
sure
and I had that promise. Yep.
and I'm sure people listening, they're nodding their head right now, because if you've been through that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I feel like your thing was like, you're going to fix up in a
hmm
certain area of your life, because you
Yeah.
mentioned always being attracted to the wrong people. I
Yeah.
would word it differently, because I feel like how could we know what's really wrong or right at certain ages? But just to dig into that deeper with you, I would love to ask you, as that, if you could remember that
hmm
young lady back then, like what do you think made you draw to, I guess, others rather than who society would rather?
Yeah, and it's not so much like who society would rather, it's more of who I would rather, like what I value in friendship, like what I
Mm-hmm.
value in relationships, like outside of friendship, like with my partner and family members and just any mentors as well, the values. Like I don't think I had looked into what I value and what I truly believed in. As a young lady, I didn't really dig deep within myself to know who I truly felt like I needed to be around, do what they were doing, and I can kind of duplicate that and really see people as role models and things like that. So I wasn't really looking for role models, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
didn't really have a lot of that around me. So it was the wrong crowd in the sense of I wasn't searching within myself, therefore I was in the wrong crowd. So it's not necessarily the wrong people, it's just that I hadn't done enough personal development or enough homework on myself to know how I was feeling as at 18 and at 19 and at 20, as I was developing as a young lady, knowing, okay, I don't want to go this route, I want to go another route. I don't like that lifestyle, I like the lifestyle over here on the right
Mm-hmm.
side, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
really just figuring out what's really meant for you, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is obviously, as you said, to put yourself around people that, as I said, quote unquote, the wrong people or the wrong crowd. But when I said that, it's really just more so doing the things that you don't necessarily see yourself doing 5 and 10 years from now. It's more of in the moment things, just because other people are doing it and you're around and you're just saying yes, yes, yes to that, when you
Yeah.
really just need to be like, no, no, no. So you could go in a different direction,
Yeah.
see other places, new experiences, new people.
What would you say, if you can remember a time, what would you say was your point of realization of like that? I kind of call it like an outer body experience, not fully so people don't get scared, but like in
Mm-hmm.
the sense of like, okay, for me growing up at a certain age, because I definitely realized that I was way more mature than people around my age group. I'm still under 30, but people around in my age group, and like I could never really be around them. And then there was a certain point where I felt I could understand mentally how to look at myself while in a situation outside of like, being in it and all the
Mm-hmm.
other players. And I'm like, it's kind of like when a person says they get upset and they're like, don't take me to that place. Like, don't make me like get to that point. Cause I know that once I get to
Mm-hmm.
that point, like it's all blank from there. Like
Mm-hmm.
that type of point of realization. Like, what would you say that point was for you as a young lady?
Mm-hmm. To like want to change and basically be fed up in
Yeah,
that
or like
sense.
realize that is not to say what you were doing was wrong, but you know that if you continue, like how you were explaining, to
Mm-hmm.
say no, no, no to certain
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Entirely. For me, I have actually, it's written in my book as well. I give a lot of credit to my defense lawyer. Actually, she was a young woman, half my size. I mean, I'm 5'9". She's about 5 foot nothing, and she's feisty as ever, and just one of those women that weren't putting up with any little bit of attitude I had, even though, I met her about a year and a half into my case. My case was about 3 years. So with that being said, we had to get to know each other, and she immediately was like, I don't know if you've changed 360, but you need to change 360 plus, because you deserve better for yourself. And I see a lot more in you than you could ever believe for yourself right now. But you need to smarten up. And, in that moment, I believed her. And that's when I started to look for resources to kind of receive help with like women's support groups and
Mm,
counseling. And even though after that I still had, struggles and difficulty with, I'm going to give a little trigger warning here for your audience, with little like suicidal,
yeah.
excuse me, don't mean to say little, but suicidal habits, and just moments where you're really feeling like throwing in the towel. And even though she had given me such great support, and I had actually built a business in the meantime of all of this and received the support and stuff like that, it was still a difficult time with the reality that I was facing, right? So there was moments where I just had to keep on thinking back to her, actually,
Yeah.
even though, a lot of people will think like I have a great relationship with my mom and everything, and some of my family members, and a lot of people will think that you would think about, your mom or your dad or your brother, your sister, somebody a little bit more closer to you than a stranger that's a defense lawyer. But it was just, I seen myself in her because she was a professional. She demanded respect and power when she walked in a room, and she was intelligent. She spoke well. And that's how I seen myself, because as I'm speaking to you on this call a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, I wasn't speaking as eloquent as I can now. And I have always been able to speak like this.
Yeah.
But it was just the environment that I was in. I spoke a lot more street. And with her energy around me, it made me believe a lot more in myself. And, obviously she has a copy of my book in her hand. And just those moments is what makes me proud, that, that moment where I didn't give up. And I remember her in those moments when I wanted to give up and stuff like that, where she just provided me with support lines. It's like, it's just one phone call away, Shandel. Don't give up right now. There's somebody that will support you. She gave you this whole list.
Yeah.
Make the call. That's the moments that I hold on to kind of say, people believe in you more than you believe in yourself, and run with it. Don't give up.
Definitely. Wow. You just so beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, to other young women out there, I know that you work in terms of mentoring over hundreds of individuals. And obviously people can say, oh yeah, well, I went through this, so I decided that I wanted to ... But what really led you to, or why mentorship?
Yes, great question. And it's amazing because mentorship wasn't something that I was accustomed to growing up, or, coming out of high school or going into university for the first year that I tried it, but wasn't for me. But I feel as if young people, and young women in particular, were to discover what a mentor is fairly early in the game of, adulthood, they would have a better result in terms of just their emotional intelligence and the way they feel about themselves in terms of confidence and stuff, and the way they value themselves. So me seeing myself as a mentor, and now how I fell into it, actually would have been from volunteering at that same women's organization that I once actually called for support. So it stumbled on from me getting support to me now being a volunteer, to me then working for the agency, to me then going off to public speak for that agency, and they put me on to speaking for United Way, to then obviously branching off and working a little bit more on my own, and independently mentoring more women, as I realized like people are willing to listen to me. What I have to say is valuable. My experiences are valuable. Yeah. And then being so willing to learn new skills, I'm constantly able to teach, especially millennials right now, skills about how to make money off of their phone, and how to monetize their Instagram, and how to make residual income from producing a book, and how to get better at public speaking, because everybody in 2020 now has these amazing stories, these amazing inventions, and the apps and podcasts and YouTubes. Like everybody is a speaker basically right about now, even if they don't realize. And a lot of people are educators right now, even if they don't realize, right? And that's the generation we live in. So to be able to remind people that they can make an income, multiple streams of income that way, and live with their talents, then I'm all for it, to help coach them to do it and remind them, as long as they have similar values as me, and they can see me actually authentically and genuinely helping them, then I'm all for it. But I'm not down for the, I'm an online coach, an online mentor, here's my free ebook vibe. I mean, not to knock anybody, but definitely like the realness and the authenticity of having somebody to really benefit from interacting with me, because, everybody's not for everybody, right? So I love to be really personal with who I work with, even though I have hundreds at this point. But it's a great experience to be able to just at least be able to get somebody out of a hole that I was once in, or not have them fall in it.
Now, if someone wanted to get in contact with you, I know your Instagram is at Inspired by Shandel.
Yes.
So people can contact you. Are you comfortable with DMs, or like, what is the best way if someone wanted to say, you know what, I really love what I'm hearing. This really sounds like someone that can understand me and won't judge me. What is the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Yes. So, I mean, I do a lot of in-person events. I know you've seen the vision board event that we did recently. That was the two-time vision board event. We have
Yes.
a I Am Women's event coming up. It's actually open to men and women and everybody who doesn't identify. So
Beautiful.
everybody is welcome. It is led by women. So as long as you're progressive and you're okay with being led by women, you can come see me in person on December 14th.
Love
The
it.
link is actually in my bio of that Instagram. But I'm okay with DMs. I love to interact on my Instagram. I answer DMs. It's a lot of fun. I love my audience, my followers. They're more
Yeah.
like my family. So
Yeah. I love that. And I want to circle back now that everyone knows how to get in contact with you.
mhm.
I want to circle back to would you ever tell a client, you know what, based on dot dot dot, I really don't like feel like this field is for you.
Yeah, well, I think that is an a honest conversation to have. You know, sometimes people may not be in the right place in their life to actually receive mentorship from you. And I mean, when I say that, I can say sometimes I have conversations with people that, you know, are mothers and students, and they want to achieve a better lifestyle for themselves, you know, for themselves, for their family. They have a much bigger why. And those are the type of people I like to work with, the people that are hungry. They have a reason to go after what it is that they want. But then when I speak to some people want, you know, Balenciagas and other
Yeah.
name brands that I
Yeah.
can't pronounce.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that's not my passion, is to help you get
Yeah.
Balenciagas. So I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
As much as I can, for sure, I may not spend all my time there. You know, I'll plug
And
you
we
in,
both
but I
know
might not spend all my time there.
not all fast money's good money. We both know.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, right.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to support that. Not where I am in life. You know, there's other ways for them to get their
Yeah.
name brand, and they're this not like, not that I'm against name brand. Like, luxury is luxury.
It
Let's
just
live
kind of lets
lavish,
me
all of
know where
us.
you are
But
mentally at life, though. It helps me to
yeah,
run the audit.
exactly.
Yeah.
I know where to go, what direction we're headed in. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And yeah, yeah, exactly. So I don't normally turn people away. I generally attract people that are looking for a positive change in life, and they want to learn a new skill to produce incomes off of their phone. However, they need to learn. They're willing. Those are the type of people I like to work with.
Okay, I love that. Now, a little bit towards the culture.
Yeah.
Recently, one of my favorite shows that I love to watch, and I feel like it's so important for the Black and urban community, is
hmm
Red Table Talk with
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett Smith,
hmm
her mother, and, you know, just whether it's 3 or 4 generations of a
Yeah.
family sitting at one table, right? Beautiful. Um, and from people that I can respect hearing what they have to say, because I've literally grown up investing in these people's careers, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So recently they had on T.I. and Tiny.
Okay.
I love the couple. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the
I'm
couple?
familiar with the couple.
Okay.
I didn't catch the episode though.
I love the couple. It was split into 2 parts. First was, of course, talking about this recent conversation surrounding families and how do they deal with children's sexuality, etc. More specifically with his daughter, etc. I'm sure you've seen it circulating on social media.
I swear to you that I haven't. I was just about to
Wow.
say, yeah, what's going on with his daughter? I'm
Well,
open to
let's
the
get into
conversation though.
it. You know,
Yeah.
here at downtown, don't waste no time with negativity.
Yes.
We love a mantra of ours is eat fruit and mind your business. It's what I love to encourage, is what we do. But, you know, I'm going to speed you up on some things. Okay. So,
Definitely let me know, sis.
in the most respectful way that I can, because
Yeah.
as I said, okay, I'm just lay it out, right?
Yeah, lay it out.
Lay it out.
We have
So,
to.
recently, well, not so recently, but T.I. was on a podcast show. Follow the train here. He was on a podcast show of Miguel's fiance, and another lady. They have a podcast together. And on that podcast, they were getting into some things, speaking on, bantering back and forth. And then the topic kind of came up of like, and somehow T.I. reacted in the sense of like, he goes with his daughter to the doctor to just ensure that her hymen is still in check for the base of it. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Social media took like a whole world spin of it, because they can hear like 30 seconds, 40. I'm not defending anyone, nor am I bashing anyone in this whole situation, but I just want to like give you the facts.
How old is his daughter?
So here's the thing, right? Part of it was that social media went crazy.
Not that that's a valid question.
No, which is a fair question. That's why I wanted to like set the blueprint up for you, because social media took it to a whole atmosphere without these questions being answered. So you can only imagine how crazy and outlandish things were getting on the internet. Memes, you say it all. Now, through Red Table Talk, we came to learn that T.I. finally got to, I guess, he decided to finally open up against his daughter's will, because at first she wanted him to just not say anything and ignore it because people were heavily bashing him. But he decided to go on to Red Table Talk, explain himself, and basically he said she was about 15, like under 18. But I guess a part of their home rules is he wanted to ensure his daughter was not out there having sex, and he wasn't physically going into the like office with her, but he was in the office, like into the, why am I losing my words, into the actual room with the doctor. He did not go, but the office, he was there, kind of thing. He explained that he understands the fact that this doesn't mean that if her hymen is broken that she's not a virgin anymore, but he emphasized the fact that like she hasn't done no horseback riding, etc., so it shouldn't be an issue now.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can imagine the conversations around that, but don't waste no time with negativity. I loved that this happened, because up to today, I've never even had a conversation with my mother about sex.
Yeah.
So do you understand how major, like, I hate the way, obviously, the things they've probably had to go through personally as a family, but being able now to have, even though it's with the world, we're able to finally have these conversations as, like, families that a lot of people have not. So that was my kind of perspective on it, but to each their own. Now, the second part, which is what I kind of more wanted to focus on of the Red Table Talk, was they were getting into the things of their marriage and really into the nitty gritty and really having that conversation. And a part of it that came up was, oh, I'm so upset because now I've lost why I initially wanted to bring it up, but it'll probably come back to me. But basically, in the second part of it, they're speaking on the allegations, and T.I., through their conversation and banter, he brought up the point to say part of the reason why like women aren't, don't quote me, but women aren't like should be leading, or like women have the right to like be in majority of decisions, is because like we change our minds often, whereas men stand firm and they don't allow emotions to rule their decisions as frequently as women do. And I realized that you had said if men are, or people are okay with progressive as to women being in charge of your event. So already I'm seeing this is a conversation that also needs to be had. And what is your take on those type of things?
Yeah, so
I know it's a lot.
very
It's a lot.
it's all good. It's all good. I'm still following. When it comes to the conversation about, women being emotional in business and not being able to
Mm-hmm.
stand by a decision, and you know uh, flip flopping, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ti knows what he wants to say. He just doesn't know how to say it. Like in
Mm-hmm.
every part of all of these conversations, you know what I mean?
Expeditiously.
And I think that's just the southern in him and the old
Mm-hmm.
school in him. Not that I'm
Mm-hmm.
defending him. I'm just saying
The patriotic
Ti,
mindset.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ti is Ti over there in his
Yeah,
corner. Let him be Ti,
yeah,
whatever. But when it comes to women being emotional in business, it's true. It's inevitable. I
yeah,
think the women in business that spend more time studying emotional intelligence and actually being firm in making decisions,
yeah,
exactly that, they get ahead, because those things are true in terms of making decisions. Men are more quickly to say yes, I find, than women.
yeah,
um, I feel like women have that risk factor that they are really, they shy away from opportunity because of that risk factor.
yeah,
Not to say that women are timid in 2020, but there is that, I don't know if I have to do that. I can just go do something more regular,
yeah,
versus men have that factor of wanting to attack, very sharky and,
yeah,
Shark Tank vibes, right?
yeah,
But I think it's all possible. And as I was saying, men are invited to our event, and everyone's invited to our event as long as they're okay with it, led by women. And the reason we emphasize that is because although it's a flyer with all women, and of course it's going to be led by women, we want the emphasis of that so that it continues to happen.
yeah,
And that, because there's a lot of women empowerment events, but they don't include men, and I'm
mm-hmm.
guilty of that as well. And partially because I want to cater to everybody else, all the women that want to just get together with women. But I mean, if I've had
Yeah,
my choice this whole time, honestly, I would include men, because they do need to be a part of the conversation
yeah,
and hear our point of view. Because it's oftentimes we go to seminars where it's going to be men speaking, and they're not saying it's a men's event,
yeah,
they're saying it's a seminar. It just so
yes,
happens that they're in the forefront, right? So I think by having events like this where it's known that women are leading it, they're going to be in the forefront, it gives an opportunity for those seminars where it is mostly men. Hopefully from this they'll pick one or two or three women where it's like, hey, I would love for you to speak at my conference.
yeah,
And then now we have at least one woman leading at another conference that would have potentially been all men, just based off the exposure of, there's women at this event, men
yeah,
are invited, so come pick us out, pay us the big bucks.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. And as well, I find like, as bad as it sounds, but I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to be honest.
Yep.
If I walk into, for example, an interview, if I see a man versus a woman interviewing me, I'll feel more comfortable if it's the man.
Mm-hmm.
And not
Mm-hmm. It's
because I'm
true.
using sexuality, but even how you've touched on the topic of like with the seminars and like men, you're right. They don't usually say it's a men only, because you would definitely hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening. But I find like, to a certain extent, because even when I had the live show a couple of months ago for the podcast, you have to word things in a sense. Of course, it's marketing, but you have to word
Mm-hmm.
things in a sense to let the women know that it's a safe space.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Where
Exactly.
men, you just send the invite and it's that. Women, I feel like there's all these, not for all, of
Almost
course.
insecurities
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
of not wanting to walk in a room that is going to have everybody from all different
yeah.
walks of life and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's important to include the men and, everybody, and just make it progressive that way and more forward than restricting it to just all women.
And what is another way you would say, Shandel, that like as women, How do we continue to lead and elevate as entrepreneurs?
Don't ask for permission.
Yeah.
Don't ask for permission. Find that a lot of people are waiting for permission to step off the sidelines.
Yeah.
And as much as it is great to celebrate others, it's much better, seeing the zeros add up in your bank account, seeing the impact, whatever solution you're solving for other people. That's where the reward comes in life. And you'll start seeing once your impact goes up, your income goes up. So don't wait for permission to start impacting people, however it is that you do that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So what is it? We've talked about Courage to Change, your beautiful co-authored Amazon bestseller book. Everyone be sure to support. And as well, what else do? You mentor, you've authored, if that's a word. And
yeah, so that right now, formerly, I had an Airbnb cleaning company. That was my baby, my bread
I didn't
and
even
butter.
know that.
Yeah,
I
not a lot
thought
of
we were
people know
going to get
that.
into the FX. I didn't know
No one knows
that.
that. I don't even brand
See
that
what
anymore.
happens when you're
so.
eating fruit and minding your business. Okay,
right?
girl. Let's
Yeah,
get
that was
into
my
that. I
first
love
one.
that. Yes.
Yeah, it was great. That was my baby. My first business that I got into was the Airbnb cleaning company. It literally just started from me helping a friend that needed me to help clean, and they were offering me
And
like
the light
$100.
switches just
I'm like,
went
all
off.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of had to turn it on for me a little bit because I wasn't really cluing in because I never really thought about running my own business before.
Yes.
And so it was completely foreign, but they told me all I had to do was find somebody to clean their house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that makes sense, right? Go on Kijiji, found somebody to clean for, then turned it into a whole business, got agents, and then turned it into Target Airbnbs because at the time it would have been in about 2013. So Airbnbs were booming and still are.
Yeah, they still are.
Yeah,
I need
actually
to go
walked
drop a
away
couple
from
stocks
it
over there.
Yeah, I actually just walked away from it in February, as I actually became more confident in trading Forex and crypto and just took off from my company, sold it, and just traveled the world, speaking, educating, mentoring now, and trading from my phone.
Okay.
That's the vibe right now.
Wow. Would you ever go back to running your baby?
Yeah, actually, I always think about it just because it's very lucrative.
Is it time consuming?
It is time consuming. Even though I, moved from being self-employed, cleaning myself to employing some people, it still was my time was too much of my time was going there. Too much of my time that I didn't. Obviously, I don't like to introduce myself as, hi, I'm Shandel with an Airbnb cleaning company. It just didn't roll off the tongue,
Yeah, I feel
and
you.
that was always a problem for me. So,
that's okay.
It taught me all that I know.
That showed you that, like, your level, you've completed that level, and it was time to go to the next one. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's okay to walk away from some things to move on to bigger and better things.
Definitely.
As long as you're all in with it.
Definitely. And you were fully trained, ready to go.
Yep. So, I was confused why I had an Airbnb cleaning company at certain points, but now I realize that those skills I was developing actually helped me in building this business when it comes to supporting lots of traders and lots of millennials in every category of their life.
Yes, so let's get into it. Trading. And you are avidly in the Forex trader community. I cannot tell you, I'm not even going to lie, girl. If I get one more DM from a Forex trader saying he gonna change my life, or say, hello, username insert here. Okay?
Oh, no. Oh no.
So
yeah, but all of them make it so much easier for me. So
right. So and to be honest, if it makes you feel better, that the only reason why that was one of the first things I learned about you is because you put it there. If not, I love that it wasn't just like in my face. You come off more
Yeah.
humanistic than like those like bots that I feel like they're running.
Yeah, for sure.
But dumb it down for me. For those listening, you know,
Mm-hmm.
my audience is broad. We have people in Bermuda, people all places of the world. What is Forex trading?
Cool. Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that you have people all over the world, because that is Forex trading in a nutshell. Forex actually stands for foreign exchange. So foreign exchange currencies. When it comes to foreign exchange currencies, the simple way to put it
Everything.
is US dollar, Canadian dollar, and then everything, right? When it comes to things like Bitcoin, that's the most popular cryptocurrency that everybody is familiar with.
Yeah.
It's an internet currency. So it's a real currency. It's just not backed by the bank or anything. US dollar, Canadian dollar is backed by the bank. So Forex for Dummies 101 is you've probably participated in the foreign exchange market. You just haven't really realized or benefited from it. If you have money in a bank, your money is being traded in the foreign exchange market.
Whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, you signed that contract, you know what I mean? So that your money's being traded for, you might as well get your piece of the pie just by sticking a fork in it, you know what I mean? And learn the skill that the banks are using to trade your money.
Yeah.
So it's just a skill where you're able to now grow your money in your pocket on your smartphone as long as you have Wi-Fi, and you can do it anywhere in the world. Now, majority of people are actually unsuccessful with Forex trading.
Yes.
Completely valid statement. Oftentimes it's the mentorship, it's the resources, it's the lack of effort and wanting to blame somebody else. But the amount of people that I know in my community that are beneficial and have progressed in the Forex world, they're not complaining. But definitely there's a lot of people I can imagine have lost a lot of money in Forex.
Definitely. But isn't that the risk you take in entering that world?
Yeah, so great question, great comment. Like when it comes to Forex, wherever there's trading, there's risk. Wherever there's risk, there's potential loss. So with trading, there's a potential loss. I would never tell somebody with their last dollar to throw it in the financial markets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you generally and then with the Forex, it's not so much you have to be willing to lose everything that you put up. With cryptocurrencies, a lot of people do say whatever you invest into Bitcoin, do be willing to lose that. If anybody on your audience is listening to that, that's just something I've heard a lot of experts say.
Yeah.
It's not to be fearful of investing into Bitcoin. It's just a reality of the investment of Bitcoin, right? Because we're still unsure of what exactly it's going to do in the future. We just know that it's been increasing its value since the get-go. So as much as people shy away from Bitcoin, it's a very much so a reality. And it's just a matter of our currencies actually changing. I mean, as once we had a bartering system where you trade a goat for a fruit, right? And then you had gold, and then you had bills, and now we have cryptocurrencies, right? And even same way we have debit cards and Visa cards, right? Just different ways we're evolving. And, if I could share, I was actually at a Bitcoin ATM, which are all around the world.
Yeah, they're getting more popular now.
Yeah, you can literally Google Bitcoin ATM and find one. And I was withdrawing from a Bitcoin ATM, and there was an older gentleman withdrawing from a regular ATM, and he's looking at me on the Bitcoin ATM like, what's that over there? And I'm looking at him at the old school ATM, and he's like really inquisitive, even though he's like 75 years old. He's just like, what's going on with these machines? What is Bitcoin? The 75-year-old man being like, I'm still using the old ATM. What's this ATM do?
Yeah.
How do you get money out of this? Where did you just put the money? Wait, where's the money?
Yeah. Wrapping their mind around that.
Yeah. So it was interesting. Even he was pretty open to just hearing about what it is, so definitely just new age money, new age currency. Foreign exchange is for everyone. I mean, if you've traveled and you've exchanged your currency before from US dollar to Canadian dollar, you may have lost or gained money depending on the day.
Yeah.
So as it fluctuates, it goes up and down. We actually earn money off of that fluctuation in the currency as it buys and as it sells. So that's just it, going up and down all day. We just put a few numbers into our phone, and few little skills in between, we teach you and make it happen. But it's definitely not rocket science. I've seen 16-year-olds do it to, people that are like, I don't even know the oldest person I've seen do it, but they're old, sis. Like,
it just takes
people that
time.
I don't even know how they have an iPhone, you know what I mean? And know how to use it. Cause like, I think back to like, my mom and my dad, they're not the greatest with phones. And I look at sometimes some like 60, 70, year olds willing to trade. I'm like, I don't know how you know how to work that iPhone that well, but kudos.
So what are the attributes of a successful or candidate for you?
Oh, to be able to work with me.
Yes.
So I prefer somebody that is willing to give it a shot for at least 3 to 6 months, if not 12 months, because a lot of people are looking to make $1 million in 30 days. And I am not that person sliding in your DM offering you $1 million in 30 days or 6 figures in 90 days and all these different things that you may see online. What I definitely guarantee people is progress. And if that person is, the only thing we control is our effort. And if that person is giving me 100% effort, I mean, we may spend as much time as they give me on the phone in order for me to speed up their results in this. Whereas some people may go on YouTube and it will take them forever to put the pieces of the puzzle together, right? So if you're a person that wants to show up for yourself, oh, that's my type of person. I love that because I can only give as much. I can't want it more than somebody else wants it, right?
Exactly.
So qualifications is just a hungry individual that takes their life seriously or wants to start taking their life seriously and just put themselves and other people in a position to win.
Beautiful. And let's tie that in with Wi-Fi money. You speak on Wi-Fi money. Explain that to our listeners.
Yeah, Wi-Fi money. So at first when I started typing out Wi-Fi money on my social media and whatnot, it was more about Forex money and crypto money. And in that process of me gaining those incomes, that's when my book came out. And then I had that income come in, and all of this is online, so I never actually have to trade my time for money. And then also with that being said, there's my residual income as well. So I actually receive a residual income for helping as many people as I have helped in Canada and internationally. So aside from my trading income, I also receive compensation from the company for the support that I give out and a lot of the events that I put on for the GTA, mostly in the Greater Toronto area and some in Montreal. So I actually have multiple streams of income coming in off of online, and it's all Wi-Fi money, right? Like it's all e-transfers, PayPal, withdrawals from trading accounts, right? And a part of that too is, I mean, I don't have 1,000,001 followers on Instagram, but because of my engagement and my quality of followers, my quality of posts, certain brands will reach out to me to, post a little ad or whatnot, and they'll compensate you with Amazon gift cards and $75, $100, $200, just these different things, right? And it's actually funny, half the time when I do receive these compensations, I actually will reinvest back into my Instagram so that more brands and people reach out. So it's not me even pocketing some of the money, it's me reinvesting it back into, okay, now do I need to go get one of those ring lights? Girl, I got me one of those ring lights, with some of the compensation,
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have seen myself getting one of those ring lights like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I was never the person that wants to be on social media. None of these things. It's just as it's progressing and things are going, I'm developing more skills and getting more ring lights and things that, Instagram-y people need. I finally understand.
Hey, but it's all a part of the tools and the resources that we need to add value to what we're already offering. And I feel like that's okay. It's what annoys me is the people that have nothing to contribute and they have all the resources and the tools and I'm doing damn near nothing with it. Mama, you mind my business, you know, but that's, so it's definitely about upping your value. As I was listening to something the other day, and it was so true, where the person was like, they hear like their first episodes of like when they started, and I feel the same way about Downtown 3 years ago. When I look at like where things were, and I'm like delete, but no, because at the same time, it shows, if I'm able to look back at that and be like, that disgusts me, then that's a good sign, because it shows elevation, it shows, progress, it shows my courage to change, just all of these things, right? So that is also what She Hustle is about. And I would love to know, Shandel, if you could, you've given a lot to everyone, but if there's something else that you could really say to another young person or entrepreneur that's stuck right now, something to help them, or you feel like they need to hear, what is something that you would share with us today on Downtown Podcast?
Well, one thing I could share, and this is going to be very authentic and personal to me, that, they probably won't be able to hear anywhere else but from myself. So I might as well share it. For me, my biggest motivation was my reality as I was actually free to go, no trouble anymore. Shandel can go off and do whatever she wants and live whatever life she wants, no restrictions. A reality of mine is, if I was not free to go within that day, I actually would have spent 2 years in jail. So now the 2 years that I would have spent in jail, knowing that I was now free, I used that 2 years as a thought always constant in my mind of, you have to do something with this time, or else you would have been better off in jail, right? Like, or, you have to do something with this time. You need something at the end of the 2 years. I didn't need $1 million. I didn't need a big house, a fancy car. I just needed to know, as you were talking about value, I needed to add so much value to my life, to others' lives, to my business, to just the value, my legacy, that I had 2 years to do that, because I know that at the end of the 2 years, if I had done absolutely nothing, I don't know what I would have done to myself. You know what I mean? Because life would just not have been worth living at that point, especially after going through hell. So
I'm happy you're still here with us.
Thank you. I appreciate that, for sure. And for everybody that's listening, that's ever had any struggles, like, I'm happy that they're able to tune in and listen to this, because, days pass, challenges pass, our battles, our emotions, they all pass, because there's people that are willing to kind of send the ladder back down, and there's people that are love and light and stuff like that when we feel like that is impossible. But really just treat, like, even if it's, you can't relate to my experience of potentially having to face jail time, but if you can imagine what that would be like, what would you do with the next 2 years? You would not sleep in tomorrow. You would not, close your laptop early when you didn't finish that page of a book that you said you were going to write. You would really use that time and be grateful for your freedom, be grateful for your health. And that's all that I did. So, use that pain for power and run with it, because that's all that I did. Is I knew that I had 2 amazing years that were not behind bars, and I had a point to prove, especially to a lot of people that doubted me during that hard, dark time, right? Not everybody always sticks it through. So just be very grateful, and for your health, your freedom. Tomorrow, don't sleep in. And do what you need to do in order to know that in 2 years, you are going to be in a better place, because I know actually after those 2 years, which is actually only about a year or two ago, I was in a much better position, and obviously that set me up for where I am today. So just keep on going forward.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem.
For giving all of these keys and gems and words of encouragement. You've already inspired me through your socials. And this conversation has just left me feeling so full. So thank you. And
no problem.
We as young entrepreneurs coming up need to understand that individuality is not what the real race is about. But the more everyone builds together, that's where the true success lies. So
entirely.
Thank you so much. Downtown, don't waste no time, waste any time with negativity, Shandel.
Oh, don't waste no time with negativity. My friends and family will tell you that is one of my strong suits.
Hey.
Yeah, I definitely don't waste no time with negativity. Uh, what do I do? Honestly, if you've ever read that book, Subtle Art of Not Giving a, excuse me, I don't know if we can swear on your podcast, but it starts with an F, ends in a K.
Oh,
But
you
the
can,
subtle,
girl.
okay, girl, don't waste no time. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a fuck, right?
Yep, yep.
That book,
Amazing. I hear great
yeah,
reviews.
I love that book, and I think I left out the part about like subtle art of not giving a fuck. I just read the art of not giving a fuck part, right? So it's very easy for me to not take any time, just off the fact that I know I shouldn't, and I have better things to do with my time and my energy. So it is as simple as that. You know, to just do something different with your time. Like, you don't need to explain yourself to people. You don't have to feel sorry for the way you're feeling or what you want to do. And I just don't take any time on it. Like, you literally, like, your hashtag is perfect for that question. Like, don't waste no time
Yeah,
on bad energy.
yeah.
It's literally as simple as that. Just knowing that line, and for you to acknowledge that, you better be doing something different with your time instead of figuring out what you could else you could be doing. It's literally just, turn around, next conversation, close your phone, turn it
Yeah.
off,
Eat
whatever you
fruit,
need to
mind your
do.
business.
Mind your business. Exactly. Don't waste no time.
With negativity. Well, that's She Hustle for this week. Please, everyone, get in contact with Shandel. If you don't hear back from her, you're just not ready. Point blank, period. Thank you. Thank you.
And I look forward to now hearing all of your episodes in the future.
Thank you so much, girl. That means so much to me. It's
Of
not
course.
easy.
I'm envious of a podcaster. I've always wanted to do it. I just never took the leap,
Hey,
but
whenever
we'll
you want
see.
to come and guest and air, vent out, you were always welcome to downtown.
Okay, cool. Might have to start with a guest feature then in person with you.
Yes, yes, yes. So for this week, please let me know what are your thoughts. Let me know. Thank you again so much, Shandel, for just taking the time to have such an open conversation. And as I said, once again, She Hustle is all about being a source of motivation and inspiration to everyone. So I've definitely, as I said, left feeling full and inspired. I hope you were able to take something away from that conversation. And if you really feel like you need someone like Shandel in your life, please feel more than free to contact her. She is an amazing person, and I feel like I will definitely vouch for her from downtown that that is someone you should get connected with. Now, let's move on.